Hi, I'm Mitch. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Today, I think I want to talk about my very first moments once I was inside the coma, my first memories. And a lot of people have asked, did you know if you were in a coma? And the answer is no. I had no idea that I was in a coma. I honestly thought I was on a business trip to New Orleans. The advertising agency that I worked for in the dream was pitching a new client who had some high-tech business that they wanted to fold into a new amusement park. So it was an amusement park client, but it was health related because the agency that I worked for was a health related agency. So it only would work if it was some kind of a health benefit. At the time, we were kind of branching out into other brands and things because health was kind of narrowing as a category. So, it made sense that we would have been stretching it a little bit. This felt a little outrageous. But the trick was, in my real life, back in 2015 or so, had met a guy named Jaden who worked for Microsoft on volumetric video. Volumetric video is new technology at the time, and I'm not sure it's taken off because the requirements technologically are incredibly high. But the idea is that it's a video stream that runs more like a video game. If you were to look at the back of this image that you're looking at me on right now, you wouldn't see anything because there's no pixels on the back of my head. It's just empty. With volumetric video, there would be. So if you were wearing a headset or you were somehow inside of, like, I don't know, a holodeck kind of display, the volumetric video would have pixel representations 360 degrees on all surfaces, so you could walk around objects. And so I was asking questions like, well, if you're doing video and it's light, then how are people able to interact with it? And he wouldn't answer me. What the deal was this volumetric video was being incorporated into this new amusement park in some fantastic new way. And it was a spectacle the likes of which had never been seen before, and it was going to change the nature of somebody's reality or something like that. And I was thinking, well, that would be really cool. I would love to go visit an amusement park where reality is kind of in question. What could be more amusing? And what a great escape. So I was looking forward to it. After the meeting was over, and it was clear that Jaden, the client, and I had a connection because of our previous experience, I noticed that everybody else on the team was chilly towards me. In fact, the account director was almost openly warring against me after the meeting was over, saying, well, I guess we're all just going to be reporting to Mitch now, or something like that. That was the vibe. This sort of, oh, he likes Mitch. This is going to be a Mitch show. And of course it's cool. And of course it's technology. And none of them cared about technology. So it was like they were happy that we got the job because it was really cool, but they themselves weren't going to be the ones on point, and so they were upset. I didn't care at the time. I was thrilled. I was so excited. I was so excited that I decided to go have a few drinks. And I went to the bar, and there was a bunch of other people there. My boss, my actual Earth boss from the agency, was down there, and he was telling me what a good job I'd done. And I was feeling wonderful, and I just got incredibly drunk. And I was feeling like I didn't care what was going on. There was a meeting the next morning. There was some kind of briefing that was going to happen, and I had no interest in it whatsoever. I was like, I don't care. I'm going on location. Tonight I'm getting hammered and I'm celebrating, and I'm going to wander around and find something weird in New Orleans. That was my entire goal, was to just say, okay, I'm going to take this win and I'm going to go on a walk and I'm going to wander around alone because I'm invincible, right? So that's what I did. I started wandering around the streets of New Orleans. But eventually I got to the edge of the French Quarter, to an area that was kind of overgrown. What was in there was an old-fashioned amusement park. It was made out of tin rides. It was an amusement park from the 60s or 50s that was using characters from the 40s and 30s, like James Dean and Mae West were represented as these tin character cutouts. A little bit further in, it's kind of like this half swamp, half vacant lot. There's old rides that are clearly not working, but there was this car race, sort of go-kart ride that was on rails. They were kid-sized cars, so I felt silly, but James Dean was standing there with his little smirk on, challenging me to go as fast as I could in these cars. And by this time, I was so hammered, there was nothing I wasn't going to do. And so I wandered up to this little car, and I sat in, and I put the coin in the machine, and it like jerked back and pulled me back onto this racetrack. And then I had minimal controls, but I was flooring it and driving this little thing as hard as I could. And I went around, and I felt the cold wind in my face, and I could see the mud puddles everywhere. I was over sort of marshy bog swamp area, and where the cars just passed the finish line, where it was sort of over water. And when I finally got to the end, I was beating everybody. I didn't brake. I just put the car directly into its parking place, and it didn't stop. So when it hit that thing, it stopped abruptly, and of course, inertia made me fly forward, and I smashed my head into a metal post, and then I flipped over on my side into the water. And at that point, apparently everybody else had caught up to me, and I heard my Earth boss say, "Somebody pick him up! Pick him up!" And then that was the last thing I remembered out of that whole sequence. I think it's a bizarre scene, but it's the one that I remember most clearly. And actually, after I got out of the coma, I still thought that that's what had happened. I honestly thought that that is what got me into the hospital, was that accident. I wasn't sure that anything after that was real, but I was 100% sure that everything that happened in New Orleans was real, and that I had hit my head, and then it was Wizard of Oz. But no, I was actually already in the coma and had that accident. And then that sent me into the Wizard of Oz, already in the coma. So I'm not sure what that mechanic was all about. But I do know that I called when I could finally talk, which was months after I woke up. I told my brother about this amusement park and the accident that I had, and how when I came out, I had a sore on the top of my head. It was a bed sore, but I didn't know that. Like, to me, I felt this sore on the top of my head, and I'm like, oh, okay, so that's where I hit the post in the aluminum amusement park, the tin ride place. Totally lined up. That was confirmation for me, which of course confused the living shit out of me for months after that, but that's a whole nother story. Thank you for watching. I promise there's more coming.